Okay, so it's September 22nd, 2022, and here's my update. World War III. There's stuff going on in the UN. Who cares? UN has no power. It doesn't matter what they say. People are complaining about Russia in newspapers. What else is new? Twitter. They're complaining. What else is new? What's new is you need to step back from all this noise and just think. We're in the middle of World War III. Started March 2022 when the West, collective West, started sanctions against Russia, severe sanctions against Russia, which meant that either Russia would have regime change or the West would have regime change. Because weapons, if you shoot something, sometimes it boomerangs back on you. And sanctions are a double-edged sword. So by putting sanctions on Russia, they excluded the West from trade with Russia, as well as excluding Russia from trade with the West. So again, that's when World War III started. Russia saw it as a mortal threat, said it was a declaration of war back in March. So we've had World War III since March, which means we're in the middle of World War III right now. And we've been in the middle of World War III for 6 months now. So how does this end? Well, I've already said Russia's not going to lose because Russia is getting support from other countries. It's not isolated. Sanctions don't work if the country's not isolated. And Russia is determined to win. So I don't see Russia losing. I don't see regime change in Russia. What I do see is regime change in the West. Again, the boomerang effect. Regime change in the West would mean that NATO, as it's currently constructed, because NATO does have power, unlike the UN, will cease to exist. So the end of NATO. Now go back to World War II. World War II saw the UK and its allies defeat Germany. UK provided the overall strategy, and America provided the finances. Russia provided the fist. What do we have now? The UK and its ally United States are using Ukraine as a fist against Russia. So Russia has been replaced with Ukraine in this war. It's one of the three things is going to happen to end this war. Either the Ukraine runs out of men and can't fight anymore, or the United States is unable to provide money, or doesn't want to provide money, or the UK has regime change and it no longer wishes to continue this war. Look at each of those three things. Ukraine has lost 100,000 soldiers, more or less. It has a population of 39 million. It can get more soldiers, but probably the quality of those soldiers is going to start falling. So Ukraine may or may not be able to continue this war much longer. It can defend, but it's probably not going to be able to attack. So Ukraine may exhaust itself and have regime change in Ukraine, where the government says, we want to make peace no matter what. Zelensky is overthrown. Again, I don't think that's going to happen because Zelensky is getting money from the West. As long as you're getting money and weapons, you're going to keep the war going. So Ukraine's probably not going to have regime change. That's probably not going to change that much. The United States, as I said before, is going to have a financial crisis. And it currently is in the middle of a financial crisis. So the S&P's lost 17% of its value so far this year. Housing prices are down a little bit around here, but they're going to fall further. Interest rates are up. So there may be a financial crisis in the U.S., which impacts America's ability to financially continue this war. And there's a big election coming up, 2024, of course, Trump. Now, Trump has said, make America great, America first. Trump said that he would oppose the war in Ukraine. If he wasn't in charge, it wouldn't happen in the first place. So if he gets elected in 2024, I would say that is the outer band of when this war would end. He gets elected, he ends the war. That's a possibility. How about the UK? No one ever talks about the UK. It's funny. But the UK is also having a political and economic crisis. Scotland may secede, may break up the UK. So there won't be a UK. There'll be England, there'll be Scotland, but whatever is left at the end of that will not be as powerful as the UK. And I doubt they would continue this war if Scotland were independent, join the EU. The UK might have a political crisis of that nature, which would make it unable to continue this war. So through those three things, one of those three is going to happen. there's going to be apparently the Supreme Court of Scotland is going to decide on whether or not there can be another referendum. It was going to be in October of this year, but that's been canceled because of Boris Johnson, the former prime minister. So that may or may not happen sometime soon, but if that happens, I could see that as a way of ending this war. The UK no longer being able to do what it does. And something to be said about that, if you look at, again, World War II, World War I, Napoleonic Wars, the UK was central to all of these world wars. So without them, I don't think World War II would have happened. It definitely would not have happened the way it happened. World War I, same thing. Which leads me to my final point, which is we're in World War III, and it's going to end. But I think the world after World War III is going to be much, much better. It's going to be more democratic, more equal, more power spread to different areas of the world. I see like a collective security involving South American country, an African country. I see Russia and China being involved, of course, because they have to be involved. And I see a diminished role for Europe. I see a diminished role for the United States, but this is a good thing. It will be a good thing. We will get through this, and I think the world after this crisis is going to be a better place to live for everybody. And we're going to look back on this World War III, and we're going to appreciate what we went through, and we're going to say, why didn't we change sooner? But that's human nature, you know. After the fact, of course, we have 2020 hindsight. We say, oh yeah, we should have done that 20 years ago, but you know, we could have done it in the 90s. We had a golden opportunity to make a new world order, but we didn't. And so here we are in 2022, going through this crisis. But again, I think it's going to be a relatively short crisis, a short war. I don't see like World War II style destruction, but it's going to end. And again, the world afterwards is going to be better. So that's my thoughts for today. Thank you.